Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on May 29th, 2023 at approximately 4:33 p.m. PST. And right off the bat, we have Eternity in here with the gold. And Emmy follows in right tight behind her with the silver. Now, I've returned to this planet for one reason and one primary reason only, and that is to remind people that working together we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. Now, I bill myself as a spiritual guide because the tools I offer are the exact same tools I personally put to use in my own day-to-day life, and the philosophies of life I talk about are the ones I personally deal with and personally guide my own life by. So this is not just a question of here's a couple of things that may work for you. Do as I tell you. Okay, this is not the way this works. These are the ones I personally use, and yes, I have shared many of these tools with thousands of other people. Am I going to tell you they're all multimillionaires right now? Not a snowball's prayer. I know of a couple that I guided to a point where they could actually retire with the company they had that they had already built. Do I have different ways of looking at things? Absolutely. You know, but am I the best of the best? Heck, I'm barely passable in being me. And we should bring that up. We have Philip in here with the bronze, and LA Moon is in with the honorable mention. And you're more than welcome there, LA. The funny thing about it is I got into an interesting conversation this afternoon. It was just absolutely priceless. Okay. There are a lot of things that I could tell you that are going sideways all over the place. I can even explain why. But let's get down to the brass tacks. How do you become successful in your eyes starting, oh, I don't know, now? Okay. It's that simple. And I keep doing that. I'm going to have to slap myself in the back of the head to stop from stuttering. Either that or I'm going to have to start thinking before I open my mouth. Oh my gosh, that'd be a change. For me, it's never been a question of am I going to put my foot in my mouth? It's a question of how am I going to get that other one in beside it? You know, and this is why I tell people, quite literally, every single person I ever meet, I make happy. Some people I make happy by showing up. Most of them I make happy by leaving. Now you get to figure out where I fit as far as you go. And no, it's pretty hard to offend me. Actually, there's an easy way to tell it to offend me. Easiest way in the world to offend me is tell me my opinion is wrong. Now, I will tell you, nobody's opinion can be wrong. Okay. The facts you're working with, the information you've got that you're dealing with, that you're drawing your conclusion from, can certainly be wrong, but your opinion cannot. Now, I've got to get this thing up and running because I can't see a dang thing here on that screen. So we take this and we go. What I'm doing is calling up my own feed so I can actually see what you guys are writing. And there we are. And it's going to yell at me in a. Oh, there we are. Okay. Now, I can actually read what's being written. Absolutely, LA. LA is going success equals be my best self and share that. Now, I found a slightly different formula. Okay. For me, the success boils down to belief plus focused effort. Doesn't matter what you're aiming at. Now, bear in mind, you still have to follow the three karmic laws. Be true to yourself first. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. And energy out, energy in. Now, you'll find these three laws are equally important. Well, let me ask you this. Philip's going, I wish I was the best of me, but when I imagine all the me's in other parallel universes, I feel inferior and rather useless. Let me ask you this. Okay, because this really is all about taking your life as it is, okay, and turning around going, how do I get what I desire my life to look like? Okay. So if you could change one thing about you, start changing one thing about you right now that you actually have control over, okay, what would it be? Absolutely put it in the chat room. Now, I only work on the one chat room because, frankly, I keep trying to get the other ones up and running and I just have a heck of a bad time with it. But what would one thing, and this is quite literally, this applies to every one of you. But this is directed directly at Philip right now. If there was one thing about you that you could change today, that you could start changing today. Now, do understand, I'm not going to tell you this is going to be easy. I don't care what the obstacle is. It's going to require effort. It's going to require dedication, and it's going to require time. Now, I am a bad example in a lot of ways because if you think about it, when I quit drinking, I was drinking a 26er a night and doing a minimum of 6 lines of cocaine. Now, that was 40 years ago. Yep, roughly 35, 40 years ago. Okay, but when I quit cold. No withdrawals, no return. Okay, I'm not a good example. I might be a good target to aim for, which is, I mean, there was one person that showed me. They showed me a bumper sticker, a little sign they had in their house, and it pretty much said it all. It says, "I still miss my ex, but my aim is improving." You know, but you desire your life to change. That's where we start. Okay, Philip's going to have the courage to start looking for a good lawyer. I have one law firm in mind, but keep thinking, I'm not ready yet. Let me put it to you this way, Philip. Okay, number one, the odds are you won't be ready until you actually get up and do something. Okay, it's that first step is not the hard one, by the way. They'll tell you the first step is always the hardest. I'll tell you that's somewhat overstated. How you doing there, football? Okay. Now, the thing you have to take a look at, when that would be wise to take a look at where it comes to finding a lawyer. Number one, make certain, and you don't have to tell me by any stretch. Okay. And you certainly don't have to share this on public. But get clear in your head why you require the lawyer. Is it actually going to do what you're aiming for? Or is there a way you can deal with it without him? And I do mean a legal way, because in fairness, Philip, I don't know what the obstacle is you're running into, but I will tell you, I've done the same thing. I keep putting things off. I've been putting off calling up a company for the last 6 months because I don't like the stress. I'm now at a point where I'll be able to call them up without causing myself a heart attack by getting agitated, because I'm just going to phone them up there and go, this is what I require. If they argue, I'll hang up and let the thing go, because it's just not that big of a deal to me, which is a bad way to look at it. But make certain you're going after whatever you're looking for the lawyer for. Make certain you're going after it that's a bad way to put it, going after the lawyer for something that is viable. Okay. If you can, and this is just my personal outlook on it. If you can walk away, if it's about money and you don't require the money, or it's not causing an extra problem, then personally I'd walk away. Okay. And God knows I've walked away from literally thousands of dollars. Okay. But the courage itself, do understand, courage is not a lack of fear. Courage is action in spite of fear. Okay, so quite honestly, I'm a firm believer that you've already got the courage to do it. You're having trouble with the motivation. What good will it do? If you go into the lawyer with the understanding, and this is the way I deal with that sort of thing, you go into the lawyer with the understanding they're not going to do anything for you, okay, then you're bracing yourself for something collapsing. Just a thought. Okay, now from your standpoint, this is one of those things that you've got an obstacle you're trying to deal with. And I will put it to you this way. Now, this I do understand the stream, like people go, I'm going to start charging for my stream. I'm not going to. Okay. But I will tell you wholeheartedly that you can get a hold of me below any one of the videos I've got out. Do I do private consulting? The answer is yes. Okay. There is no question there that I do that. I decided I'm not going to pack that up. But, nope, that is not what I want. I require this. If you're looking to get in touch with me for consulting purposes, and bear in mind, I've been doing that for over 50 years now. Okay, professionally, it's been 47. 40, yeah. Professionally, as in generating an income, it's been 47. Okay, but if you're trying to get a hold of me to talk about something in private, do I do consulting? Yes. Do I charge? You bet. But if you're interested, look below this video or in the chat room. I just posted my email. Oh, I forgot to hit enter. That's the email to get a hold of me. Okay. And we can discuss price whole 9 yards. I'm just not dealing with that part of it here. Will I ever charge for being on video? No. This actually falls into my advertising. This is my way of reaching out, whether I'm advertising or just doing what I can to help people turn their own life around. That's what I'm doing here. And I do not see myself ever charging for this. There are many people that go, oh, I've got a million viewers. I'm going to start charging. Not going to happen. A company in Hollywood phoned me up one day and asked me if I would, they wanted to tell my life story. And I talked to them for a little bit. And when they sent me the contract, I took a look at it and went, please tell me this is a joke or an extremely bad oversight. Right. And so I says, look, I was talking to the sales guy, and he was great. But I told him, I says, look, I says, it says in the second paragraph, they are allowed to fictionalize, the story, modify the story, change it all they want. Okay. The third paragraph, we can breach this contract. Please sign here. Right. And I went, I'm not signing this. These two clauses have to go. And in deference to the sales guy I was talking to, he turned around and he says, I will see what I can do. He says, I can't categorically shut them down, but I will see what I can do. And he takes off. He comes back a little bit later and he turns around and goes, I'm told they will not drop it. I said, I'm not signing. Then he shifted to company outlook. And he said, look, you don't understand the money you're turning down. I sat there and I went, actually, I understand entirely the money I'm turning down. What you're missing is how little I actually care. Oh, that is exactly what happens, Philip. From my standpoint, I just looked at it and went, not going to happen. Make up your own story. You don't need my face. Okay. But that said, am I willing to go on somebody else's show and discuss certain things? Absolutely. Although, as here, I will tell you there are certain topics I won't discuss. And they are just black and white. Okay. Somebody asks me a question. If I'm not going to answer it, it's just going to be not telling you. Period. I am one person I told that to. I said, I'm just not telling you. And he said, oh, so you don't know. And I sat there and now bear in mind, I was on a live interview and I sat there and I went, let me think. We're going to try English now. I'm not telling you. This has nothing to do with what I know. And he was, to say the least, a little miffed about it. But you desire success in your life. The first thing you've got to do is decide one itty bitty factor. And I don't have it readily handy. No, I really don't have it readily handy. So where did I put it? Well, that is confusing. So I'm going to stand up and see if I can see it. Nope. So I will have to go and deal with that. But clearly not right now. Yes, I get sidetracked. I get confused, the whole 9 yards. But in all fairness, I'm not suffering from Alzheimer's. I'm suffering from something called Kraft's disease. Okay. Now, if you've never heard of Kraft's disease, what Kraft's disease means, and this is how you spell it. Okay. Well, where the heck did I put that? Lost my cursor. This is something I was diagnosed with a long time ago. Kraft's. Okay. Now, before you start getting... that was terrible typing. That's because I tried typing with my left hand. Okay. So yes, I was diagnosed a long time ago with something called Kraft's disease. But before we start getting all these sympathy, anything that has to do with sympathy or I'm so terribly sorry for you, no. And this one is an annoyance. I may have spelt this wrong. Tried typing with my left hand, it didn't work that well. So I'm going this way. Now, what do we got here? Okay, now that one, which is temporal dissociative disorder, literally means I can't track time. Okay, I could be sitting here for 3 hours and not know it. Okay, and this has been proven time and again. But Kraft's disease is a very simple thing. Kraft's disease I was diagnosed with way back when I was a child. Well, and here is what Kraft's disease is. Let's put that all caps just because. There we are. That is Kraft's disease. In all fairness, Philip, what I ended up doing was going, okay, I used to, when it comes to trying to figure out where I was trying to get to, I would have to leave the house. I would absolutely have to leave the house 45 minutes ahead of time to get to a place that only takes 20 minutes to get to, because I'd be panicky if I was out the door only 5 minutes ahead of the amount of time I required. Okay. But you simply learn to go, okay, this is what I'm dealing with. People that have allergies learn to deal with their allergies. People that have memory problems, they learn coping mechanisms. In my case, I literally developed the list system so that I could get things done. Okay. Now, the important thing, number one, the place I live. Okay, the place I live, I cannot have pets. Okay, I can't even have a goldfish without paying a fortune. Number two, I figure I'm doing good feeding my kids and and myself. Bringing a pet in is not a viable option. In all fairness, I don't have the time for them, really. I like animals better than I like people. But, see, the thing is, a guide dog is great if you're trying to get someplace. But the biggest catch to it is they can't tell me what time it is. Okay. Or they can't tell me how long I've been sitting in one place. So you learn to adapt where it comes to the courage to change your life. Let me ask you this. Is sitting there not doing it making it any easier? I mean, granted, if you get absolutely agitated, sometimes it's a good idea. It's a good idea to leave things sit for a bit. This is one of the reasons why I haven't dealt with certain things myself, is because of the fact that I don't have the tolerance to deal with them right now. Because, I mean, let's face it, when I'm dealing with companies that have just blatantly said, this is what we'll do for you, give me your money. You give them your money, and they don't turn around and do their job. Now, to me, this is just unconscionable. Yes, I have a problem with time frames. Let me see something here and get this over here out of the way. Pop that there. Wow, I got way too many things open here. That's obvious. Pop that in there just on principle. This one, we go there. And yeah, I don't think so. All kind of neat little things I got to deal with there, but that's okay. Okay, we will have to take a look at that. What do we got? Oh, I could get a dog. Now, the thing is, I'm not clinically requiring one. Okay, service dogs are something that you require if you're blind is the obvious one. I'm not blind. I'm annoyed, I'm dense, but I'm not blind. That'd be the first problem. Okay, if I required one to stop me from having epileptic seizures, I could also get one. But under the Disabilities Act, I'm not disabled. Okay, so technically, if that were the case, I could. But because it isn't the case, I end up with the other side of it. Okay, so I just take a look at it going, it's not a big deal for me. Actually, for me, not having a pet is a lot less stress. So, yeah, if it were an actual service dog, I absolutely could get one. You see, I get my emotional support from the trees. Trees are the plants. I just go for a walk. I do appreciate the ideas there, Emmy. I definitely appreciate the idea. But I became reclusive from a lot of the world for a lot of reasons. Primarily because I didn't want to have to deal with it. But no, there's a lot of ways of looking at that. Football, I'm presuming you're referring to when somebody sees a working dog, sees a service dog, and they stop and pet the thing. The 11 rats, I can fully understand, Emmy. The parrot, that's called dinner. I don't like the screeching. You know, but yeah, in my opinion, if a dog is a service dog, you only deal with the dog if the owner gives go ahead. You always ask first, and sometimes they'll let you, but you never walk out. Yeah, what's this? Philip goes, dogs can feel the passage of time, unless it's a dog who also has the disorder. Yeah, they absolutely can. You know, but like I said, for me, a service animal or a pet at all is just not something that really fits my lifestyle. You know, because the reality is, I came into my office this morning at about 8 o'clock this morning. No, I came into my office about 7 o'clock this morning. Yeah, about that. And was in here till almost noon, working on writing projects and what have you. And do I go out for walks and what have you? No, in all fairness, I really don't. See, so I mean, there's a lot of reasons for having a pet. And I absolutely encourage people, if you've got the time and the temperament for them, absolutely get one. Okay. For me, time I probably have. I mean, I'm walking into early retirement because I've just had enough of the world. Now, this I will still do. Will I still do the consulting work? Will I continue to write? Yes. Am I likely to go back to work in a traditional job? Honestly, not likely. Okay, but most of that is because, well, frankly, I keep running into problems with bosses trying to tell me to do really stupid things. At least stupid in my eyes. You know, but no, if you desire success, the first thing you got to do is figure out number one is who are you trying to be? Who are you aiming at success for? Is this for you? Is it to accomplish some sort of a self designated goal, or are you trying to make other people happy? Football goes, I'm a part of a bunny Facebook group. I presume you mean the bunny scene mean. See, bunnies are really neat. That's terrible. This is trying. Philip says this is from a serious study by economists hired to find out for Buddhists in London. It is less expensive to financially support a dog in London than to support a monk. Well, this would stand to reason. Right off the bat, you don't have to buy the dog and the dog clothes. Okay. I mean, granted, the food bill's probably close. Honestly, there, Philip, have I considered it? When at least one of my boys moves back out, I may consider hosting somebody, such as a student. But I don't trust people enough to let them into my own house. Okay, I really am not as socially outgoing as you might think. You know, but the biggest problem with bringing a monk in is most monks have some sort of definitive religious orientation from some temple or some guideline. I am, quite frankly, not convertible. Okay, which would make for a very annoying setup. Probably more so for him than it was for me. And Lord knows, I've had Christians, Christians, Jews, Muslims, well, no, Christians, Jews, and Mormons try to convert me into their religion. I've even had Jehovah's Witnesses try and convert me. It doesn't work. Quite frankly, as the saying goes, I'm inconvertible. Or non-convertible, I don't know. One of the two. But when it comes to success, yeah, I play with knives. But look at the bright side, I'm not suicidal. Unless you call suicidal borderline suicidal, because I'm just done fighting with people. The neat part about it, from your standpoint, is if you've got a goal, success boils down to, well, quite literally, it boils down to belief plus focused effort. Now, for me, I've got 7 books in print. I've got two sets that will number 12 in each. And when I get those tied off, I will consider that success. Okay, I consider it success when I offer a tool to somebody here or anywhere. They turn around and put it to use. And they come back and say, hey, it worked. Okay, do I require am I going to go looking for a service pet, even a budgie or a hamster? Not a prayer. Okay, I did try the idea of buying slaves centuries ago. That worked out really well for me because I got people paying me to take their slave from them. But when it comes to your success, pick a goal, doesn't matter what it is. Break that goal down into 15-minute to half-hour tasks. Okay, the reason for that is because if you can squeeze 15 minutes in, you can feel like you're getting something accomplished. If you get pulled away before, if you try doing a 2-hour run, you may have a major problem in getting the actual time for it. So what I'm looking at here, that'll make things cooler. When you start looking at your life and going, I desire to be successful. Number one, what is your idea of success? Because there's a saying in life, and it goes like this: you can accomplish anything in life if you can accomplish anything in life if you set your sights low enough. Yeah, I think that would go over a whole lot less, although it would be funny. Philip goes, could you host the monk at your ex-wife's house? Yeah, but you see, right now, well, I might be able to convince her, but right now I get along with her. I don't think that would work. She's got a much lower opinion of religion than I do. At least in my case, I am quite willing to talk to somebody. I won't do it on here. But if anybody out there desires to talk to me about my take on religion, my understanding, and my memories around it, absolutely give me a call. It's not that hard to find me. Okay. Or if you've got a channel you've got in mind, get them to give me a call. Because I got no problem putting my foot in my mouth. I do it regularly. Yeah, I don't know. But like I said, the biggest thing for me is I've got a 3-bedroom apartment, okay? My apartment, my youngest son has 1 room. My eldest is about to have another. And of course, I've got my room, and I've actually moved my office into my bedroom to ensure that I've got the room to work. You know, but would it, in all fairness, would it cut down on my expenses? You bet. And maybe after my son moves out again, maybe I'll bring a student in and let them, and put them up. Maybe, but that's a real big maybe. I like my private time. I like my quiet time. And, that's just the way that goes. Shadow, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Now, I require shrinking that. And this, and where is Shadow? I am having, there we go. This, guys, is Shadow's room. Okay, this is his YouTube channel. So drop in when you get a chance. Give him a call. If you like what he's saying, give him a thumbs up and absolutely subscribe to the channel. Shadow, as I've been asking other people, if you would be kind enough to let me know what time and what day your show comes on, I'll be more than happy to post that along with your link. Okay, what do we got here? So, I mean, all in all, the reality is when I said we can make this a better world for virtually everybody, I know full well there's a lot of people that will not be happy with changing this world. Raven, how you doing? I did not see you come in, Raven. My apologies. Welcome aboard. I gotta find out what temperature I'm actually running at here. Not bad. 28:56. We are still here. We are 5 o'clock in the afternoon Pacific time, and we're still sitting at pretty much 90 degrees. So, needless to say, little on the warm side here. Oh, that makes it a little rough in there, Shadow. That's kind of like my trying to pin down when I'm here. I mean, I know I aim at 4:30, Friday through Wednesday, but it doesn't always work out that way. I like the way you put that. And yet I used to actually live in that. You know, not that I liked it, but I had a very specific person and reason to have very specific purpose to actually go to those places. And the moment I succeeded in what I was doing, I walked out of it. Quite frankly, I don't recall the last time I was in an actual bar. You know, but if you desire your world to change for the better, you're the one that's going to have to turn around and do the work. Okay, it's just that simple. For me, when I get done this stream today, I will end up spending 3 or 4 hours doing more writing. Of course, the reality is I've got a number of books I'm aiming at getting done. And now I've got to find pictures that, because I moved computers around, I got to go hunt them down again, which is annoying, but I'll figure it out. But pick a job. In this case, like I'm looking at my office here. That can go over there because I'm not planning on walking out of here just yet. What was this? Oh, see, I got a bunch of stuff that I really don't require. That's on my desk for the moment. So it's got to be moved. Otherwise, it's just going to continue to annoy me. So we clear this stuff out of the way. What is that? That can go over there. Oh yeah, this was something. LA, you're still in the room, I trust? This is the chart that I was talking about that I built. Okay, the astrological wheel. Now the funny thing is, I built this with a center point, a string, a straight edge, and a nail, and that was and a pencil. And that was it. Well, aside from the paper. Okay. But that was all done. Like I said, I'm a dinosaur. Okay. This was done on paper, obviously, with just those 4 tools. Okay. But as I was talking, a little while ago, if we look at the astrological wheel, don't ask me what brought this up, but you take a look at it, and we hold it that way. You've got Aries here, and direct opposition from Aries is that is not Aries. Yes, that is Aries. Where are we? I can't see straight. That's my problem. That's Aries. It's in direct opposition to Libra. Now, theory in modern astrology is that these two cannot get along. Okay. Well, if that were the case, because they're directly opposite, if that were the case, one half of the world would, the whole world would be in chaos because all of these signs have a direct opposite. As you can see, Pisces to Virgo. Okay. What you got to realize is this is just one tool to understand people. And I'll tell you, the way I understand people, as far as astrology goes, is a whole lot different than what many people do. Where are we here? Philip goes, I just had an idea. If it's a monk from one of the mystery school traditions, he or she will go out of their way to hide his or her religious stuff from your ex-wife. Yeah, but catch there. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Karmic law number 2, equally important as the other two. But I wouldn't appreciate it much if somebody came over to me and said, hey, I've got this person, I want you to put them up. If they're in trouble, I'll take a look. If not going to happen. Okay, I have offered a room to people that I do trust. And from a visitation standpoint, I don't have a real big problem. Yeah, that would do it. Didn't take me that long. I used the fact that to go to a laundromat, I had to leave my house. That was it from my standpoint. I do remember being in a laundromat one day, and the one of the dryers caught fire. Well, my first thought was real simple. My wife was with me at the time, and the attendant in the laundromat. So I looked at the two of them. I said, "Get out!" Chased them out, and then the building's filling up with smoke. So I went back in and got my laundry out of the dryer. Get outside. I've gotten the two girls were standing outside the laundromat, and the fire department was called. Well, as they're arriving, I'm walking out pushing my laundry with me. And the fireman looks at me and goes, looks at me, we're just coming out of the building, and the two girls are standing in front of the window. And the fireman looks at me and goes, didn't you realize that's a gas-powered laundromat? I looked at him and I said, I didn't realize that was gas-powered. Do you really think I left these two people standing here? And he goes, well, what about you? I says, I got laundry I spent 3 hours in there doing. I'm not letting it get smoke damage, so I got to wash it again, but thanks very much. He goes, you're worried about smoke damage in a building that's on fire? I said, well, where else are you going to get smoke damage? Crystal, how you doing? Glad you could join us. What do we got here? Yeah. You know, see, from my standpoint, boils down to this. If you desire your life to change, you're going to have to be the one to get up and do something with it. Now, there are a couple of things that you gotta understand about success. Okay. In my opinion, success equals belief plus focused effort. If you believe you can be successful and you put the focused effort into it, you can do it. There is virtually nothing you cannot accomplish. I had a client that came to me when she was 52, really unhappy that she had not become a doctor. So I talked to her for a little bit and she went back to school. Now, like I told her, I said, you can get that doctorate. You absolutely can. But I said, you're not going to have very many years left before you reach the usually accepted age of retirement. I was saying, okay, but I said, two things to consider. One, she was becoming an MD. She was becoming a medical doctor. I said, you got to realize that it is possible to do. The other thing is think of the example you're setting. Okay, I said here you are at 52 years old, looking at going back to match pace with 18 and 19-year-olds. This is incredible. How we doing, Dogface? Glad you could join us. Hopefully your day's been going well. So I worked with this woman for 7 years, all the way through her medical, like through her university. I worked with her until she got, actually, I guess it would have been 11 years, because I worked with her all the way through. I agree with you. Mind you, in all fairness, Philip, I see 80-year-olds as children most of the time. And in all fairness, they are. No disrespect intended. But this woman, I worked with her at 60 years old. She got handed her degree, her medical degree. And I worked with her for another 4 years as she went through her internship and eventually got to be an actual doctor, an actual MD. Okay. When she was 64. Now, of course, that did not leave her a lot of time, but it did mean she completed the goal. Okay. She set a goal for herself and got to it. Uh-oh. Well, I do apologize for that, Shadow. Lord knows I didn't do anything about it. But thank you very much for that. The nice, yeah, I look at 18 and go, no, enough pain was developed at that point for me. At 18, I literally went into a complete tailspin. Okay. Emotionally speaking, I was not in a good place, but I was certainly not suicidal. I'm still not. Okay. Am I disappointed with things? Absolutely. But if you've got a goal, what do we got here? Ah, see, I don't find the big corporations afraid of me. Just many of them, I don't have a problem with YouTube, I don't think. I've run into some interesting snags. I had my hand slapped once for making a comment that I don't even know what the comment was, but I got a letter from them stating that this particular day, I have breached their contract and their protocols, and therefore, because it was a first time offense, I was just getting a warning. Hey Joe, how are you? Glad you could join us. Oh yeah, if you were out at a Memorial Day or celebration, I have no doubt you were tired. You know, and what do we got here? See, from my standpoint, it's not a question whether it's legal. It's a question for me at 18, there were way too many complications. What do we got? Phil's going in the field I want to study. We recently found out that my mom has a third or fourth cousin who studied this. This cousin, she's currently a professor in the field at Columbia University. I gotta ask, because, well, you opened the door. I guess technically I don't have to ask, but what field are you looking to go into there, Philip? If you don't mind us asking, obviously. Or if you do mind us asking, a little late, but it's up to you whether you answer. And boy, did that go sideways. Anyway, guys, when you got something you desire to accomplish, okay. Oh, there we go. Ah, well, here, that's a challenge and a half there, Philip. Okay, Philip's going the field he wants to get into is education, fixing it. Okay, I will tell you one of the biggest secrets to education. Teach the kids how to think, not what to think. And when I say kids, I see everybody, whether you're newborn or 105, anywhere in there. Okay, you're still a child. Okay, and I know some of you are likely to take that as an insult, but the reality of it is this: if you had a parent, even if you're a vat job, let's say you were born in a test tube, and some of you were, some of you just crawled back into the test tube, but even if you were born in a test tube, you had a mother and a father. This being said, you're a kid. Okay. Being a child is not an insult, and you shouldn't take offense to it. Okay. I'm the last person to talk to about finding ways to relax and have fun. Like I keep telling my son, I'm not entirely certain I know what fun is anymore. Way too many complications I've run into. But when I take a look at this world, the first thing I look at is this: are the people interested in learning? Okay, are they interested in looking at a different way of doing things? Many are so caught up in doing things the way it's been laid out that they just don't think about going a different way. You know, now I don't know about you, but I've been told multiple times you gotta learn to think outside the box. But, and this one I'm just gonna drop in your lap, in anybody's lap, really. Where is this box people are talking about? I keep looking for the box so I can figure out whether I'm thinking outside it. And I still can't figure out where the box is. What do we got here? Absolutely, Shadow. You know, I'm in here because this is how I relax, as it were. That's why I keep it to a 2-hour run. But then I've also retired. I'm pretty much stuck here. You know, well, stuck, that's a loose way of putting it. But I am glad you're enjoying the chat here, Shadow. Phillips going, our common ancestor was a woman who was one of the first superintendents of public education here in Washington State, Washington Territory at the time, for a whole region of the state or territory. Henry, how are you? Glad you could join us. You know, my father, what used to be the superintendent of Sunday schools for the entire valley, right? So, I mean, it was great, at least as far as I understood it, that's where it was. But being a teacher is one of the most underrated jobs that people have. I think the only one that's more underrated is No, well, we were broadband Protestant. Oh, okay. But no, the only job that is more underrated, in my opinion, than what the teacher's job is parenthood. Way, way, way too many. Yeah. Shadow just goes, I say that, and sure enough, my internet starts acting up. Have you ever considered a bicycle generator? Kill two birds with one stone. Keep the electricity running and get in better shape. Or beat the heck out of yourself and hurt yourself in some fashion. Are we? And that should not be top, that should be live. And that continually does that to me. I have no idea why my chat keeps shifting gears on me. Well, that was painful. I'm taking a look at the world, and right now I'm looking at my office desk. And honestly, I'm quite happy with the majority of the layout of it. But let's get the stuff out of the way that I don't require. Oh, I know what that was. Take all this, get it off my desk. I will have to move all this tonight anyway. But when you start looking at success, okay, I'm looking at this right now. Now let's refresh this just on principle. If I hit, yeah, that doesn't tell me. So if I hit refresh, that'll, whoa. Let's not do that just in case. Ah, that'll do it. Don't want to reload my live stream because the odds are it'll drop the call. That would be a real bad idea. Yeah, now all you gotta do there, Shadow, is just hook it up to a not a conveyor belt, but a generator, and away you go. Yeah, Philip's going. My best friend from childhood is Roman Catholic priest. Now, when we were little, and now, oh, he's priest now. When we were little, he was already studying Klingon. Now, I like that. One day, I'm going to have to learn Klingon, just because I'm curious. But, I used to write runic. Now, of course, since my stroke, I lost a lot of things. No, I lost a couple of things. Okay, what do we got here? Oh, yeah, that one, thank you very much. My ex actually gave that one to me for Christmas last year. It does light up, and here's the problem with it. Like right now, I can see it. And so can you for that matter. But where is there it is? If I turn it on, I don't think that's readable then with the light on. Just come back. No, you can't see it at all there. As you can see, it's kind of redundant really, but you can't read that at all. Which tells me it was a very poor design in a lot of ways. But I turn it off, you can see it fine. Funny thing with that is it's kind of redundant because in order for you to see that, you've got to be in the room and I've got to be on air. And if you can't figure out I'm on air when you're sitting here and I'm in the room, there might be a problem with your interpretive skills. Okay, just looking at the obvious. Oh, see, I learned a few languages when I was younger. I speak English. I speak mumblies, slurries, mutteries. and grumblies. These are all various dialects. Okay. I did learn to speak bits and pieces of French, German, Japanese, Spanish, American Sign Language, and Hausa, also known as Northern Nigerian Trade, just because I was bored. Now, the odds of my ever needing a Nigerian trade language, not really good. Okay, because the odds of my ever heading for Nigeria are pretty limited. But again, it boils down to this. If you have anything you desire to do, any goal at all, very necessary to put your mind to it and break it down, do it one step at a time. Ah, there we are. Philip's going, maybe make it readable. Maybe it's readable to interdimensions. Well, the good news there is I do agree with you. The dimensional thing, we have an interesting conflict of interpretation. But I will tell you this. Okay. Our computers, the computer, like Terran computers, even the best Terran computers do not communicate with the off-worlder computers. Okay. The show Independence Day, where they showed them using the Earth-built virus to beat the off-world computer, cannot work. Terry, how you doing? I'm doing quite well, really. I mean, as you can tell, my throat is a little screwed up right now. Where are we time-wise? Okay. And, right now I'm sitting at 508 subscribers, which is great. I don't mind you. And I'm not going to go looking for it right now. I remember there was one day I only had the show on, I only run a 2-hour show. And when I looked at the stats, there was over 24 hours that had watched it already. By the time I got finished the first day. So when I look at this and I go, I've got 508 subscribers, I'm aiming for 1,000 right now. Okay. And with that in mind, if you haven't already done so, if you like the stream, do me a favor and give us a thumbs up. It seems to have an impact on the algorithm of whether or not the video comes to the surface. And of course, do subscribe to the channel if you like it, and then share the daylights out of it. And absolutely, if that means share it with the people you don't like because you're just trying to tick them off, absolutely do so. Okay. The reality is, I will make everybody I meet happy. Some of you I make happy by showing up. Most of the people I meet, I make happy by disappearing. Now, I'll let you guys figure out which one of those categories you guys fall into. That's just an odd way of looking at things. Oh, this is fantastic there, Terry. I'm always a firm believer that no matter what your job, no matter what your career, pick 2 days of the week, back to back, that you just close the doors. Even if you own it, even if you've got a store, close the doors for 2 days of the week. The reason for that is this. If you own your own business, okay, and this actually applies to if you live in your own house. Okay, take 2 days of the week where you just sit back and do the bare minimum, as in, if you got to make lunch, but don't worry about beating yourself black and blue and trying to get everything done and everything spick and span, which is really kind of funny to use that term. It's actually the name of an old cleaner from decades back. What do we got? Keep doing that. What do we got here? Now, I gotta ask football, what, and pardon my obtuseness, but what, pray tell, is hate watching? I mean, a lot of things I hate watching, so, you know, so I turn around, there's a lot of things I hate watching, so I just don't watch them. What do we got? Oh, there we go. I got an email the other day from Apple saying that by June 26th, 2023, I have to transfer all my photos and videos over to a different cloud photo app. Joe, I wouldn't trust that as far as I can throw it. What they're trying to do, I would lay odds is take all your videos and get them onto their server to get a hold of them. Oh, like watching sports. Oh, sorry, that was rude. But yeah, Joe, in my opinion, that's a scam. I cannot tell you how many emails I've had that apparently Yahoo is going to cancel is going to cancel my account because they're upgrading. I can't tell you the number of times I've walked past that one. I'm just reading what's going on here. No, in all fairness, if I don't like a channel, I just won't go back to it. Very much like if I don't like a restaurant, I won't go back. For me, if I walk into a restaurant, now I usually tip really well. I tip really well for people where I like to think I tip really well for people that do things to assist me. An obvious issue of this. Okay, before I get to that, if I go into a restaurant, and normally in a restaurant, I will tip between 25 and 30%. Okay, that's just the way I operate. But if I walk into a restaurant and the restaurant says, we are adding a 15% tip to your bill, I will never set foot back in that restaurant because, to my way of thinking, they're saying I've got to pay for their employee. They don't want to pay for their employee. So I'm just not doing that because I tip when people do the job properly. I remember one waitress again that I got, and she asked me because she asked where we were from. I told her we were just heading back from a psychic fair, and she goes, "Well, you don't believe in that stuff, do you?" I said, "I don't really have much choice." And she goes, "Well, I don't believe in anything I can't see." Right? I looked at her and I said, "Really?" I said, "I'll take you up on that." I said, "Do you believe in God?" "Well, absolutely." I said, "When was the last time you ever saw the man?" She would not come back to my table, to our table at all. So of course, about 20 minutes later, a waitress from another section came over and she goes, "Have you even been served yet?" I says, "No, but I think I ticked your coworker off." She goes, "Well, I know this is not my section, but if it's okay with you, I'm going to pick it up and make sure you get served." So I got the meal properly. When I got up to go and pay the meal, the original waitress, the original waitress was right there to collect the bill. So I paid the bill properly. I didn't leave one nickel of a tip to her. Right. But I did go over to the other waitress, the one that had actually served us. And I literally, in her case, I gave her a 50% tip. And she just looked at me and I handed it to her and she took it before she thought. She goes, "I can't take this much." I said, "Take what?" Right. I said, "Look, you went way above and beyond." I said, "And there is no way I'm going to tip her." I said, but you did the job way beyond normal and way beyond what would be expected of anybody. So this is just the way I operate. Yeah, Philip, that really would be. So, from my standpoint, no. If I see a show that I'm not happy with, I just don't go back. Now, there are some shows, some live streams, it's not I'm not happy with them, but let's face it, I'm here for 2 hours. Tonight, I've got at least 3 hours of writing to do, and at some point, I'm going to have to sleep. You know, that's just the way my life works. Yeah, I mean, I'm like you, Lee, in LA. You know, I take a look at it, it's like, "You will pay 15% tip," and I'm like, "No, I really won't." You know, I showed a client, they came to me, they had 1 restaurant open, they were trying to open a second, but they were losing staff left, right, and center. So I turned around and they'd come to me and asked for guidance. So I got the information I required and went, "Do this, 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 and this." And the guy looks at me and he says, "But," he says, "that doesn't make sense. That goes against everything I was taught." I said, "Don't do it. You'll lose both companies. No skin off my nose." Well, as it turned out, 13 years later, the guy comes back to me and he says, "Look," he says, "when I first came to you, everything you told me was absolutely nuts." He said, "The only reason I did it, because my brother and I had both taken restaurant training. And everything you told us went against everything we've been taught." He says, "The only reason I taught that I did what you suggested was everything we tried didn't work." He says, "Here I am 13 years later with 7 restaurants, 2 of which are in strip malls that I own." And that's just the way that is. From my way of looking at it, I just looked at the reality. You want your staff to stick around, pay them. Now, oh, for a minute there, LA, I thought you had said that you wrote that Frank slapped her. And I'm like, that's just rude, but deserve it in this case. No, definitely not. I mean, Joe, like I get emails on a regular basis that tell me, or more to the point, I get phone calls. "Oh, there's a problem with your customs order." And the last one that phoned me with that one, I thanked them very much. And the guy goes, "You're thanking me because there's a problem with your customs order?" I said, "Well, yeah. Usually if there's a problem with customs, the cops show up on your doorstep. You're giving me time to get out of town. Thanks very much. I appreciate it." Let's see. Philip's asking, "If you studied UFOs?" Well, study them, I live with them. And there was an influential person whose ideas people kept asking you about. Would you, well, oh, who you thought was deliberately misleading people about the UFOs, you might hate watch them. No, because there are people, and I'm not going to give names, but there are specific UFO investigators that they come on for an interview. Even if I was looking at going to that channel, I won't go and listen to it. Because quite frankly, there are a few UFO investigators that I frankly feel are shoveling a whole lot of guess what? And I don't have time to listen to them. The funny thing there, Derek, I mean, I appreciate that, but I thought that was something I developed over time. Turns out I actually had that from the get go. I told my first boss, the first boss that I worked for outside the house, I told he and his supervisor, I was working for a country club. So we got the front lobby all full of millionaires. And I told my boss and his supervisor, I said, look, when you two can grow up and get along, talk to me. Till then, I'm making my own rules. And I walked away and left them standing there. Amazingly, I did not get fired. I don't know why. Yeah, no doubt. LA's just going, I thought about it, but didn't have bail money. It's funny, I asked a friend of mine if he'd come with me to help me deal with the government, because I don't have patience for them. And he looks at me and goes, well, I could, but I don't know how my thumping on them is going to help your case. So we decided to go with somebody else. But no, the reality of success is this. Success is in your own eye. Okay. I don't think those are qualified as partisan, Joe. You know, Angels, how are you doing? Glad you could join us. Actually, let's see. Here we are. I have not seen you in here for a while there, Angels. However, doesn't change the fact that we pop this in. This is Angels Are Life YouTube channel. And therefore, drop by, give her a listen. If you like what you're saying, give her a thumbs up, and absolutely subscribe to her channel. And Angels, if you would be so kind, if you've got a static time that you're on, let me know what time you're on, and I will start posting that at the same time that I'm posting the link. Because the way I figure it, working together, we can make this a better world. You know, and I'm hoping, like right now, I'm sort of plateaued for the moment at 508. But when I talk about plateau, we're only talking a couple of days. There we go. Just got to mark that down here. Wednesdays at 4 p.m. There we are. Oops. Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Why? Pardon my obtuseness here, Angels, but what time zone? It's funny, I hear rumor lately that they are looking, like the Canadian and the American governments are looking at possibly eliminating time zones. Or more to the point, eliminating, thank you, eliminating daylight savings time. Okay, I will add that to the list after the show in all likelihood. But, the reality, well, yeah, Derek's going, Jacksonville, Florida is the largest landmass city in the world. Whoop, where are we here? Oh, Phelps just going, maybe some of the big fish at that country club asked them not to fire you. That is quite possible. Ah, that is quite possible. I never thought about it. I remember the first actual party I ran that I ended up setting up for and operating for that club. Right. I was a houseman, so I did all the dishes and all the minor maintenance. But I come out of the kitchen with a bunch of stuff, and somebody took a wine glass and fired it at the floor. Now I didn't see who threw it, but I turned around and I just looked around and went, "So who's the idiot that threw that?" And this drunk woman looks at me and goes, "I did." So I handed her the broom and the dustpan and I said, "Clean it up." Now bear in mind this woman was in a ball gown. Okay, this was a Christmas party.
So she's sweeping up the broken glass in a party gown for Christmas. My boss comes out and looks at me and goes, "What are you doing?" I said, I'm supervising." He goes, "Why is she cleaning up the broken glass?" I said, "'Cause she's the one that threw it there." And my boss looks at me. Now, bear in mind, I'm 18 years old. And my boss looks at me and goes, "I hired you to keep this place clean." I says, "Yep, but you didn't hire me to babysit a bunch of drunken buffoons." Well, that was fine. He did not fire me. I don't know why. He didn't turn around and fire me. But the next morning, I'm coming down the walkway to come into work, and I'm hearing this familiar voice tearing a strip off a couple of the waitresses. As I come around the corner, here was this woman that I'd had the run-in with at the party the night before. And she calls me over to her, talks to me really decently, really nicely, apologizes in front of all of her friends for being such a loose cannon at the party. And, said, assures me she'll never do that again. And then, told me, have a good day at work, that sort of thing. Now, bear in mind, this woman looked down on everybody. She was a top-ranked tennis professional. And if you were not on the circuit, she was absolutely vile to people. Right? So I come back into the kitchen, and two of the waitresses come around the corner. And they looked at me and went, "What did you do to get her to tell you, to treat you like that?" I said, "Last night I called her a drunken buffoon and told her to clean up her own mess." Right, was the long and the short of it. And she goes, "You told Judy to clean up her own mess and you called her a drunken buffoon." She says, "That one." I says, "Yeah, I know. It was a Christmas party, probably overstated." And the head waitress looks at me and she goes, "It wasn't a Christmas party. It was her annual Christmas party." Now why my boss didn't fire me for that, I don't know. The neat part about it from my end is I've always sworn, well, I really have always sworn, but, well, ever since grade 8. Gordana, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Ken, how you doing? The reality of it is, if you desire to be successful, the first thing you have to do is, number one, determine that you tell yourself, "I am worth it." Now, where did I put that? That is an excellent question. I really do wonder. Of course, now it's not going to be visible. Well, of course it won't be visible. Why would it possibly be visible? Not where I want it anyway. So that's okay. I'll figure that out later. But no, every one of the books that I sell, I actually send a bookmark out with it. I think this one's actually got one. Yeah. See, every one of the books that go out. Yes, I do send out this type of bookmark. On the one end, believe in yourself and follow your dreams. On the backside, it literally says that, and I strongly recommend, taking that sign. I got one here. Well, I've got all kinds of these floating around, but I've got the same sign on my fridge and one on my front door, just as a constant reminder. I really don't know, Angels. You know, mind you, well, actually, in this case, she probably remembers it all. She was in her late 50s back in the early 80s. So my suspicion is she's probably dead at this point. pretty much to any sociopath, I think. See, it was funny. I was told when I was growing up I could not take psychology in any form because there were enough professionals playing around inside my head. They didn't need some amateur screwing it up. So what I'm doing now is I'm putting the information I work with on paper in booklet form. Okay, and the short books that I'm working with, like I said, they are, that should be the right one. You know, this series, Believe in Your, these ones, they're not very big, but I wrote them in such a way that if you really have to read it again, it doesn't take very long. You know, I came to like I grew up under bullies all my life. And I just come to the point that I just don't like dealing with it. I don't like seeing other people deal with it either. You know, and to me it's not a question of whether it's an adult being a bully to a kid or a kid being a bully to a kid or a kid being a bully to an adult. You know, that's just wrong. See, I failed college rather miserably. Actually, I got really good at ping pong in the 4th semester. Yeah, you were born in the 80s, last generation before. Yeah. You know, you were born in the 80s, and by the 80s, I was already graduated. Well, I graduated in 81. Okay. After being diagnosed mentally retarded, I turned around and graduated. Now, this particular book, that's the backbone of how I turned my life around. But I do have other ones that'll be coming out later this year. Quite frankly, it's time to get this information on paper before I do that annoying thing called dying again, having to start over. You know, for me, it boils down to this. If I can help you guys bypass some of the hiccups I went through, just simply by going, this is what I've dealt with. If that helps you, whether it gives you the opens the door and says, here's a way to go. Okay. If that's the way it works, great. If that's the way, if it gets you that little bit of a jump that says, I can work past this myself, if it gives you that necessary encouragement, then again, I'm doing my job right. My self-appointed job, I must point out. You know, like I said, I returned to this world for one primary purpose, and that is to remind people that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. And something just dawned on me. Can you believe it? This Friday, as in the 2nd, I will be back on Spaced Out Radio again. I cannot believe it's been, well, I can believe it, but we're already a month down the road again. Where are we, Dave? And this is, of course, the link to Dave's show. And of course, from my stand, like he's on pretty much almost 24/7, I think it feels like. But in my case, it's 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Pacific time. I'll be on there. Derek, my term for that was a little off. I had a company actually take money out of my bank. Okay, again, when they shouldn't have been doing it. I, let's just say, wasn't happy. But if you've got a goal, or if you've got, and it doesn't matter if it's a great big goal or a little itty bitty one. Okay, if you've got a goal, break the thing down as best you can into 15-minute to half-hour tasks. Once you've done that, start pushing for it. Get a little bit done every day. Well, 5 out of 7 days of the week. Get a little bit done towards it. You do it in little tiny pieces. There's an old African proverb that goes, "How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time." And that literally means do it one step at a time. Oh, fantastic football. You finally got past the insomnia. I know you were fighting with that for a very long time. What finally played? Do you know what finally got you over it, or is it just your body finally relaxed enough to do so? Where am I? Yesterday, this morning. No. Today is, what is today? Today's the 29th. And where are we? Yeah, it's not bad. Last night I managed to get 4.5 hours of sleep in one run. Ah, okay, there we go. The nice part is, like I've always said, I'm a firm believer that if you can do something without medication, and this applies to if it does not cause a problem. Understand, I don't like doctors much. Okay, and they're almost useless from my standpoint. So do I go? No. But I will still strongly recommend most of you, if you've got a problem, go and talk to a doctor. They theoretically have more knowledge than you do. Okay, now am I going to tell you to trust them? Yeah, sure. We'll go with that. But the reality of it is, I've already told my kids, if I'm not unconscious, don't call the ambulance because I'm not going. It's just that simple. You know, and I've had enough run-ins to know what my body will deal with. But I'm looking at the level of what I'm aiming for here. Yeah, Philip, I got diagnosed mentally retarded, and so I see I got diagnosed mentally retarded, and then promptly turned around and really confused them and graduated on the honor roll. You know, I was talking to somebody today about the theory of relativity, the flaws in the astrological system, the flaws in numerology, and a number of other things. And some of these are topics I would quite readily deal with here. Some of them, of the topics I was bridging, I won't deal with on my own channel, but I'm more than willing to tangle with them on other people's channels. Something about the fact I don't feel like getting my channel shut down. And some of the time, my viewpoints, to say they are controversial, is an extreme and majorly gross overstatement. Gordana, that is not a bad move at all. Gordana is just suggesting food first. If it doesn't work, add supplements. Now, the one supplement, and I'm a firm believer in this, do understand before I put my foot in my mouth, I am not a medical doctor in any functional fashion. Okay, certainly not a trained one. But my feeling towards vitamin D itself, you can buy vitamin D in a bottle, but the vitamin D your body requires is already in your body. Roughly half an hour of direct sunlight, okay, a day will activate that vitamin D and thereby help. Okay, it doesn't come in a bottle. Mankind has not been able to replicate it, in my opinion. What do we got here? Yeah, Angels is going. I'm still minorly in that stage. Slept 3 hours, wake 4, sleep 4. Yeah, I see that I'm doing that. I mean, it's funny. I'm slowly getting back to sleeping 4 hours, being up for the rest of the day. Like if I look at if I look at Sunday, I slept, what was it? 2.5. slept 2.5 hours, got up and got to bed at 3, got back up at 5:30, and then I was up until 11:30 on Sunday night. Well, here's the thing, Philip. Many of the teachers are actually willing to teach, but if you look at their doctrine and the way they've had their hands cuffed, it really makes it difficult, because what's happening in schools is kids are being taught what to think, not how. Joe's going, oh, show topic, when the EMF does hit, how to prepare. Okay, that being said, Joe, thank you so much for that. And due to the fact I haven't scheduled a whole lot here, we're on the 29th. Tell you what, you're jumping the gun on this one, which is absolutely fantastic. Now, with that in mind, tomorrow, how's this for a quick response for you there, Joe? Tomorrow we will deal with the EMF. Okay, and we will take a look at some of the things that you can do. Now, do understand again, the reality is you take a look at S4. Okay, I used to be over on S4. I haven't been there in a very long time. But they've got some phenomenal ideas, and I suspect Nathan on the Quantum Show probably has a lot as well. EMF is an electromagnetic field. Okay, when like every time we get hit with a heavy-duty solar storm or sunspot, my apologies, I appreciate that minor correction there, Angels. Electromagnetic frequency. When you have a sunspot, it fires an EMP, an EMF field. We usually call it EMP, which is electromagnetic pulse. And when it hits Earth, it knocks offline your communication systems, anything that runs on magnetics. Usually not to the point of causing pacemakers to stop, but it can. But there are a lot of things that you can deal with that. The thing we have to remember is that if it hits, and if it hits bad, we are going to have a major problem. But we will discuss that. Like I said, Joe, that one, I will pick that up tomorrow. Okay. Because the reality is knowing how to deal with that kind of thing, which, by the way, is not man-made. Philip goes, in my case, they were just flagrant, that should be flagrantly breaking the law because the school was diverting resources away from education so they could spend it on basketball to entertain themselves. Gee, does this sound like the gladiatorial arenas of ancient Rome or what? Less the bloodshed. The nice part about it, when we take a look at success, it's actually real simple. There are, and yes, I am actually writing a book with this in mind. There's a lot of phenomenally well-written financial advisory books, okay, that are designed to work if you have $40,000 to $50,000. Now, I don't know about you, but I haven't got that in my pocket. So I'm writing one that tells you how to make more money work if you've got $3 in your pocket. Okay, and it literally boils down to a change in the way you look at the world. Okay, the neat part about the brain, I'm just looking at some of what's being said in the chat room. The brain produces every chemical you require, everything you require for a perfectly healthy body. Now, I'm in the process of really pushing limits because I've got to get my teeth rebuilt. And since I cannot rely on the modern medicine to do it without them completely screwing something up, I end up with another little problem. Okay, I'm going to have to reactivate things to make that happen. You know, the fact of the matter is, if you desire your life to be different, and I know this is cliche, but you've got to become the change you desire to see. Now, I desire my book, Believe in Your Finances and Follow Your Dreams, to get into the open market. Okay, so I'm going to start making that happen. Okay, but there's a number of things I have to sort out. Derek, here's the neat little problem. You desire the so-called global overlords to disappear. Here's a cute thought. Quit looking at them as overlords. Okay, do not give them the recognition that you're giving them. I see no difference myself between somebody that has $1 billion in their pocket or somebody that has a nickel and a half. Okay, one of the wisest people I ever met, one of the most genuinely generous people I ever met, lived on the street. Okay, I do not refer to anybody as a superior individual. Yes, they've got better bank books than I do. I'm setting the bar awful low. Honestly, Angels, I have not done any functional looking into it. Every medication I've looked at, even with the right man, with the right research, what looks like right research, none of it has worked. Okay, as a matter of fact, when I looked to get something to help my heart, okay, I looked at all the research and it was all really good. Brought it home. 4 days later, I had a severe heart attack. I went, no, I don't need this. Right, and threw the bottle out. I got something that was supposed to work to help rebuild my teeth. 6 months, regular as clockwork. Not one thing happened in the way of rebuilding the teeth. So, do I trust what modern doctors are coming up with? Not a prayer. Yeah, the good news there, Derek, I do actually eat salmon. Now, granted, I eat canned salmon, which may not be the best, but it is, on the other hand, better than no salmon. And since I regularly burn things, it's not doing me any good on the other on the other side of it either. I do, for my heart, I actually take hawthorn berry, and it works like an absolute charm. But no, the really important factor here is if you desire your life to change, you're the one that's going to have to do something with it. The neat part is I ended up unemployed. Well, because the company closed. I have no idea. That would indicate, Phil's just going, is it mercury-free salmon? I have no idea. In all honesty, I grew up looking at it this way. I was literally told by my parents, don't eat it if you can't pronounce it. Well, that created a problem because there's very little I can't pronounce, but I just don't read labels to find out, oh, is there this microscopic amount of mercury in it? I just don't. This does not mean it's a wise decision. It literally boils down to I've come to the understanding I don't have to know what my body requires. I just have to make sure I pay attention to what my body asks for. You know, I like salmon. I'll eat salmon, and well, in all fairness, I'm a carnivore, so I eat a lot of meat. Matter of fact, I eat. Some people would say way too much. On the other hand, I have dropped over 50 pounds off my weight, which was absolutely an imperative on my part. Net result of that is all of a sudden I wasn't having as many problems with my legs. See, when it came to the dentist, I went to a dentist some 30 years ago, and when I told him the anesthetic hadn't worked, he wouldn't believe me and removed 2 teeth while I was not anesthetized. Net result, I can't set foot in a dentist's office without major problems. I have the same problem with doctors. Yeah, my doctor keeps going, "We've got to get you into the hospital and get your blood pressure checked." I looked at her and went, I walk into the hospital, I walk onto the lawn, my blood pressure goes through the roof. But everything in your body has the capacity, your body has the capacity to heal all of it. Okay. I used to have my glasses held right there and I couldn't see them. Now I've got 20/20 eyesight without my glasses. Okay, for reading. But the kicker to it is this. I didn't get any surgery. I didn't get any dietary change aside from doing what I had to drop a little bit of weight. That's just it, Joe. I haven't been able to get in to get them done because I've got to go completely under. And this is where the problem is. Okay. I've got to be completely sedated on IV. I'm immune to local, and the pill stuff, I process it so fast that it won't work. And the really stupid part there is I asked them about the pill, or more to the point, they volunteered it. I said, "How does it work?" And she goes, "Well, it doesn't really stop you. It'll stop you from feeling most of the pain, but it will stop you from being able to move." I looked at her and I went, "Great, so I can't move and I'm still in pain. This is not going to happen." Well, that's just it. I'm looking at this Cordana, and, out here it's just absolutely bizarre. The last one I tried talking to, I organized something. I was going to go to an oral surgeon, but the stupid thing is, they said I had to get a go ahead from my doctor before they could do anything with it. Well, I never talked to the doctor, and they turned around and booked it. And a month later, they had me booked, and I never once even got a call from them regarding what the dangers were, what the procedures were. Nothing. When I tried to cancel the call and cancel the appointment, their receptionist said, "We don't even have it booked." So I didn't show up. And then I get a letter telling me that I owe them money. Needless to say, that's one of these bills I'm looking at going, I may pay at some point. But no, modern doctors and modern medicine for me is pretty much a write-off. I even know people, like I know of one person in particular, and I probably fall into the same category. Okay. That is absolutely 100% immune to Botox. And I'm probably the same way, not that I'd ever consider Botox. I got asked one day what I was going to do about the wrinkles in my forehead. And I looked at the guy and I went, well, as long as they don't start bleeding, I'm not going to worry about them. He goes, "But they make you look old." I said, "Well, I am old." you know, oh, perfect, Derek. I will take it as soon as I take it if you've done that, that's probably in there. Yeah, this is one of those things, like, I look at my credit rating going, I will build it up at some point, but I will never buy a house. In all likelihood, I may eventually, but what the heck. But dealing with the legal system, I saw a guy one day when I was taking law in school. there was a chap that got charged with second-degree murder, which I could understand. I could go with that. He had murdered his girlfriend, stabbed her 40 some odd times in the chest. Right. And I could understand though saying that it was second degree, that he didn't pre-plan it. His blood alcohol was something like 0.42, and hers was like 0.38. Right. So I have no doubt he was not in his right mind. But the guy got off on second degree manslaughter. He accidentally slipped on all the blood and stabbed her multiple times. I pretty much gave up on the legal system. The legal system, that's the silly part, Philip. The legal system is required for society. You've got to have a legal system, but it's got to apply to everybody, not just the people with a certain bank account. Okay, it's got to apply to everybody, or it won't work. We know this because, well, the legal system back in Rome didn't work for exactly that reason. Yeah, it's funny, Angels. Where it comes to my immune system, I've got a healing rate and a immunity system that's just insane. Yeah, and Gordana's going system for this, system for that. Systems are necessary. Okay, you want to see what happens if you remove the system? Read, I think it was Orson Welles who wrote Animal Farm. Shows exactly what happens when a government is overthrown. Okay, it's not a question of overthrowing a government or changing the system. It's a question of operating and finding the problems, which is why when I talk about building a publishing company, or more to the point, expanding my publishing company, I'm looking at it going, what should it happen? Gordana, I don't think destroying the education system is going to work well. It's already been shattered. No, where it comes to the publishing company, I'm now starting to push. Okay, I've got to make a couple of phone calls and get them to happen because I want the proper paperwork in place. But I see so many people with potential books to put out that they turn around and go, they'll turn over to a publishing company, and the company will look at it and go, no, it's not good enough. I am not the one to tell you whether your book is good enough. I am the one to say, okay, here's the formula that I've got. I've got a formula worked out on how much it would cost to do any book that comes in. Okay. When you take a look at that, when you take a look at what I'm going to be doing, I'll take books that come in. If I'm not going to print them, it won't be because they're not good enough. It will be because I personally don't agree with either the genre or the type of book, and that's my right. Okay, but I've got a formula worked out that will say that I will put it, but I will tell you, the advertising I do, until I figure out how to do it for my own, it would boil down to, here's the book, it's available on this site. Okay, and then we work something out on that end. But I will get all that worked out before I start pushing it. Where are we here? Oh, thank you so much there, Shadow. I didn't say actually, I've said very clearly, I am one of the worst read English majors on the planet. Okay. So now I'm curious, who the heck is Orson Welles? I'm guessing he's an actor. Parents should have been educating their kids decades ago. Unfortunately, kids are still the same as they were. We know exactly what we're doing. Getting them motivated is a neat challenge. Oh, okay. Henry, just to be clear, this world, even, well, 50,000 years ago, we had a civilization here, the Lemurian Empire. Over 10 billion people with no war, no famine, and no greed, and no jealousy. Okay. We had a phenomenal society. Okay. Unfortunately, curiosity created a problem. You know, so is there such a thing as a perfect world? Not really. This is why legal systems have to be in place. Laws have to be in place. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some laws that are out there that I absolutely look at and go, are you people nuts? Okay. There are a lot of them. I'm not going to go into the ones that are, in my eyes, stupid. But there are some that are on the books that I find absolutely hilarious. Not the least of which is, at least in Canada, it is still on the books. It is illegal to board an aircraft while in flight. By the way, it's also highly dangerous. You know, I mean, there's that one, and of course, the other one that it took me almost a decade, which was really sad that it took that long when it finally dawned on me. There's a law that I saw in the Canadian books that it's illegal to carry a concealed weapon greater than 6 feet in length. Now, it took me forever to figure out what weapon you could possibly carry that was 6 feet long and still be hidden. I did figure it out. The one weapon that you can do that with is a chain. Okay, or more to the point, a whip. You know, the nice part about it is we can have a very, very happy world. All we have to do, and this sounds so overstated, but you know, the one I'm just looking at this football just posted. It's illegal to get divorced while pregnant. Now I'm not quite certain why, but what the heck. Well, I appreciate yours as well, Derek. Thank you very much. The reality of it is, this is where I get a staggering amount of support. And I really do appreciate it. But we are hitting the 2-hour mark. So just a quick reminder here. If you do like the stream, do give us a thumbs up. Who was it that made that comment? But I do appreciate you guys sharing your time with me. I really do. That said, I will be back again tomorrow. And like I said, tomorrow I'll be back on. I should be here at 4:30, from 4:30 to 6:30 again, Pacific. And we'll be covering EMF. Okay, and what you can do, what to expect with it, what you can do to deal with it. Okay. Now, with that in mind, when I get back here, absolutely. Yeah, the electromagnetic field. Yes, in all fairness, Philip, electricity does produce an EMF. Okay, but there are ways of working with it. Now, with that in mind, I'm going to call this a night. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I will catch you again tomorrow, 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. PST. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.